Alright guys, I'm in the middle of putting the supercharger on this Mustang, and I'm at part section B for modifications, and step C, or this boss C, is needing to be reduced in height and cut in half, and that is kind of what it's supposed to look like. So going to this diagram that it has here, a couple pages further, I'm supposed to remove that much material until 20 millimeters is left, and I believe I have achieved just that. So here's my measuring device. Here's 20 millimeters exact. 20 millimeters. So what is going to go here is a bracket for the pulleys for the new serpentine belt that's going to go on the supercharger. So this is step one in the modification process, and I have completed that one. Now it's off to this one. I need to grind this all the way down, and that section of metal to probably right where that first hash is. So it's almost got to be touching this webbing, or the bracket won't sit flush against the front cover. So this is the modifications for a 2017 50 Mustang Phase 2 Roush Charger kit. So I'm going to get a couple more videos, I'll link them together, and here we go. So this is the bracket I was talking about. So this is actually, that bolt's coming out, that bolt's coming out, and that bolt's coming out. And this is going to sit there like this. So you can see why I needed to remove that boss, because it's going to be sitting, this bracket's going to be sitting there like that. So we have achieved clearance. Just want to mock it up just to make sure we're good. Angle looks nice, and it's going to be sitting there just like that. Like from the factory, man. Okay, got to grind that one. Okay, there's boss number B, letter B, number 2, and you can see how far down we ground off and how it started. Ooh, sorry about that. Boss A, I apologize. See how this got that nub on it? So we went all the way down to those webbings on the front cover. Now that's going to allow for another bracket that's going to go on there. So, alright. Now we got to grind number 3. Okay, one of the next things we had to cut off was a wire retainer tab, piece of aluminum that came out. It was on here like this, so we had to cut that off and clean up all that, so that's not going to be used anymore. And then, yeah, we're going to move on to cutting this down. That spot right there has got to be whacked, and that's it. So we're gonna have to test and fit and see how that goes. Alright guys, here we are with the lower part of the intake on, and I wanted to illustrate to you the clearance between the part of the block I had to grind down and the intake. You guys can see that in there, right there. See that like little brick? You can see this, definitely the space between it. And I've orientated where the hole is, and I know that's the position it's going to be sitting in. I know I've ground off just enough. So I'm going to take my screwdriver back, and I'm going to show you what it look like, what I ground off looks like underneath. Okay, you can see how much I took off. See if this gives you a better shot at all. Right there. I took the knock sensors out, just wasn't fitting correctly. I gotta pull the wiring back farther so that they can sit farther apart. But yeah, they're gonna sit way underneath, like this part of the cylinder head here. I gotta tuck them way underneath there. But yeah, so far so good, guys. Alright guys, I got it done today. This is the final built product. Got everything assembled and ran. Gosh, it looks like it came from the factory. I do have to run the pod vent gauge, which is right here. Gauge with an air vent. So I do have to install that tomorrow and put some louvers on. So, yep, that's what we got. Alright guys, here's cold. Cold start. Supercharged 727 Roush Phase 2. Alright guys, happy Friday to you. After this guy that on, there's one final thing I got, well, two final things I got to put on. The customer wants this on his window, which, I don't know, the color's alright, being matte. I gotta tape it on. But they look alright. And the last thing I gotta put on, which is the cooler of the two, a gauge that goes in his air vent. So I'm gonna kind of go over a few things that I'm gonna have to do in order to put that on. These are some of the instructions. You guys can pause it and look at it as I'm scrolling. But yeah, we're gonna try to get this installed. So I guess here we go. Alright, the name of this gauge is that right there, and it came with a few pieces. This controller box, some wiring that plugs into the DLC, electronic to boost, the little middleman, and then the customer said he bought a little chip that is going to enable his gauge to do some other things. So I had to take this little box apart, and this was the chip that I just took out, and I just lightly pried, like, you know, right there, right here between where the two plastics meet, and just kind of wiggle it up out of there, and installed what appears to be a track pack chip. So put that on, and pretty much just gonna snap this back together like so, just like that. So now this is going to take place. That serial port's going to plug into there, and then the gauge, which I've already installed. So this whole trim piece came off. I had to take this one off first, and then this whole piece popped out the vent. Then you had to take this piece off just so that you could run the wire from the vent down here, and then you'll tuck up all the access. But this was the first step in installing the gauge where the filter pod goes. So that panel is all secured, and we're gonna move on. Okay, we're officially done. Customer is ecstatic. Just wanted to show you guys the boost line. You can see it's kind of coiled up. I'm not getting a good shot of it, but here's all the necessary hardware that is going to be needed for that gauge. It's installed in. Let me start it up real quick. There's the boost gauge. Pretty sweet. And this is it. This is the last part. We had to hook the boost gauge up, and it goes right here to the bottom of the intake. You can see I had to take out a little plug, 1/8 male pipe thread to 1/8 inch barb, and that's what we got the line on. And that's it, final assembly. Customer is ecstatic and took her for a road test and is loving it. So, alright guys, tell me what you think about this in the comment section below. And as always, thanks for watching.